Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. And we're back at Kew Gardens, guys, and we've got a ton of questions for Mr. Hamish here, and I would assume Albert as well. Look at all this. Emptied colonial room, relationship with Dunne, keys, Albert, lethal plants, and the Divine Syndicate. I'm curious where that line of questioning is going to go. But first up...
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Interesting.
As deputy director, how is your relationship with Montague Dunne?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, a great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, and what lifestyle was that?
You mentioned that Mr. Dunne led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say. He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and...
And?
He had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Okay, no shame there.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunne's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunne had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunne interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
Oh. Okay, let's ask about Margaret here.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunne. And he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Sounds like there's a twinge of jealousy there.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Here we go.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
And what do we got here? Every Tuesday morning, Montague Dunne would carry out a rapid inspection of Kew Gardens. His employees, Mr. Hamish in particular, did not look forward to this routine. Can't say I blame him. All right. Let's go talk to Albert with our new information. Do we got the same line of questioning here? Yep, pretty much.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Interesting. So Hamish is saying that they were moved for storage, but the guy who puts stuff in storage has no idea.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Ooh.
Indeed. That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Interesting. So neither of them know what the Divine Syndicate is. Maybe Miss White knows.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Well, that's something.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
Meet Miss White. And it looks like we have some new deductions. Albert's ambition. Well, we could technically link Albert's ambition to the poisoning, but remember, he knows nothing about botany. I'm sure he could learn real quick, at least which plants can kill. But now we can go ahead and search these rooms. Ooh. Oh, okay. It switched to first person. Okay. Here's the director's office. Ooh, we got a safe. A mirror that's covered. Oh, he had his own photo. Or his own picture on the wall. Yowza. Times.
Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
New plant species. The Kew Gardens team are pleased to announce the successful production of a new variety of barley, one that retains a complete resistance to the cold. They have named it the Siberian barley. Mr. Martin Hamish, the proud cultivator of the graft, will hold a press conference next Monday morning upon this very subject. Well, he seemed proud of his work. There's no shame in that, really. It's just how you go about it. Ooh. My dearest Margaret, following our last conversation, I believe it might be better if you vacate your position here at Kew Gardens. As you pointed out quite bluntly, you are no longer in need of my support. You're quite able to stand up for yourself in this world, as you say. Well, I give you back your freedom and wish you nothing but good luck, Montague Dunne. What a prick! Now, is that Miss White, Margaret? Hold on. We've got to meet Miss Margaret White at the Seed House. Oh, man. He hadn't gotten around to giving it to her yet. Find a use for the marble fragment. Well, we found a use for the keys, for sure. Interesting. Champagne. There isn't an ice dagger in here, is there?
Champagne. Montague Dunne had good taste.
Looks like he could afford it, too.
French wine. A remarkable vintage.
Now this should be fun. The director's safe. Rotate left. Alrighty. Oh, wait a minute. Eggs. Are we stuck here? What do we do? Oh, hello. We have to get all of these up, don't we? Do we just go back and forth? Oh, no. We start from there. Then we go that way. It's all process of elimination. It's like Simon. Okay. We can do this. And then 1, 2, 3. And maybe 1, 2, 3 here. Now see if this resets it. 2, 3. Oh, I'm nervous now. Ah. Okay, so we keep going that way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to try one more. Hey! Maybe now it'll work. Huzzah! What do we have in here? My dear friend, please allow me to express my disappointment upon reading your last letter. I am paying you to defend me, not to accuse me. Kew Gardens is a royal institution. We are granted a great opportunity to travel the world and to save the most extraordinary, precious, and rare species of plant. Our duty is to protect such species, and from those who might wish to use them for dubious purpose. This divine syndicate of whom you speak have no right to hold such precious plants. Remember the case of June 14th, 1889. So I must respectfully ask you once again to notarize the permissions on these plants on behalf of Kew Gardens. The documents were sent to you on Monday. See you in Boodles on Tuesday. As always, Montague Dunne. Letter of complaint. Mr. Dunne, we must ask you for the last time for the return of our dear sisters. You do not have any right to hold them imprisoned. They do not belong to you. Your so-called permissions are wholly false. You are hiding behind lies. The lie, we need not elaborate, that was reported in the press on the case of June 14th, 1889. What you have done is quite abhorrent. Be sure that we shall never abandon our family members. We trusted you and have regret doing so. The Divine Syndicate. So we're going to have to...
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Debt of Miss Margaret White Montague Dunne. Rental of a suite of rooms at Oxford Street. An educational scholarship at London University. Credits opened at Hamilton. Radigan's house, tailors, and at Baird & Sons Luxury Jewelers. He kept a receipt of everything he did for her, so if they broke up, he could... Oh, wow. That is a special level of scumbag. Okay. White's expulsion. White and Dunne. And... Oops. You keep on going there. Poisoning. We all good there? Alright. Miss White and Mr. Dunne had a recent disagreement. Montague Dunne was planning to release Miss White from her position at Kew Gardens. Now, is that everything that we need to... photograph?
A photograph of Montague Dunne and Reynold Hamish.
So did they used to be friends? I guess that's a potential. We'll probably ask some more questions here soon, but... The laboratory! Oh, the gas mask. Are you my mummy?
It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here.
Yeah, we found some of it in the fireplace. Or in that bonfire.
Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Watson? We would know this. Now, is there anything else to... Oh!
Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals.
Yes, indeed. And we will use our detective site here in a moment.
The employee's cloakroom.
Which we should be able to go look at. Because it is a murder investigation. University book. Botanical section.
A botany book.
Albert Dunne repeat year.
This student's book belongs to Albert.
So not a good student in regards to botany. As was stated. Ooh. Chemicals.
Chemicals. A sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
Holmes begins to salivate.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Shut up, Watson. And anything here we need to be aware of? No. Detective view. Activate. Wet bottle trace.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Ooh, gold dust.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around.
And clumsily as well.
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
Toby! Fetch Toby. Awesome.
Locked.
Crap.
Holmes, Albert Dunne didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
Ah, okay. Old school lockpicking. So, we have a new symbol here. I'm not exactly sure what that entails. But we shall see. And how many do we got here? Okay, that needs to fit. Well, actually, it may not. Got this one right here. That's interesting. Rotate all. I'll tell you what, let's move this right here because this will give us a better view. Is there anything? Wow, this is really random. How is this going to work? And why is there a lock this intricate for a place like this? Let's go ahead and just start from this one. We'll start from the outside edge as our base and just kind of go from there. It could be... No, that looks good. Ah, there we go. Now, do we have anything that can connect? Oh. Actually, we don't. Can we shift? Oh! Okay, I see. I see. How cool.
Open.
Really? Open says me. So we got Miss White's locker, Martin's locker, and Albert's locker. Let's see what's behind door number 1.
Albert's locker.
Ooh, nice hat.
Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunne has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea.
Refusal
A
letter.
rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Sir, it is my regret to inform you that despite your excellent results within our entry examinations, we are unable to invite you to the Royal Navy School. Your father, Mr. Montague Dunne, has expressed his intention to entrust you the directorship of the Royal Botanical Gardens in Kew, and it is clear that he would not release you for an entire year of naval study. Please accept all our best wishes for your future at Kew Gardens. Yours faithfully, J.M. Lemarchand, director of the Royal Navy Training Center. So his dad blocked him. Ooh. And what do we got here?
Young Albert, standing with a woman in front of London University.
Looks like he had his life pretty much in order, but his dad kept on interfering.
Martin Hamish's locker. Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
I think chemistry and botany kind of go hand in hand, depending. Mr. General Secretary, recent events unfolding at Kew Gardens oblige me to renew my application for the management position. As I have stated already in my previous letters, I believe that no one is better suited for the post. While Mr. Montague Dunne was alive, I understood your reservation to my suggestion. Your reasons were political, and I was happy to comply. But now the Kew Gardens lie in disorder. How can I stand by and allow it? How can I leave them in the hands of inexperienced people with no motivation? I must urge you to cast your decision as a matter of urgency, that I may devote myself entirely to the noble task ahead, and free my mind from this uncertainty. Well, he wasted no time.
A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces. Father and I, Kew Gardens.
Wow, he'd been going here since he was a little one.
Miss White's locker.
Now, we don't know anything about her yet, but we shall get an impression.
A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
Dear Mother and Father, I am writing this letter with reluctance to ask for your help. My studies and my housing costs have proven to be more expensive than I had anticipated. I fear, therefore, that I may not be able to manage in the long term. I know that we have had our disagreements in the past, but would you be so heartless as to allow your daughter to fail her studies due to lack of money? That's worded strangely.
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
Master's degree in chemistry. Dear Margaret, I know how your financial troubles are overwhelming you at this present time. Please let me reassure you that I could not permit you to remain in such a dilemma. I was born of a wealthy family, and I would consider it an honor that you might accept my help. Your devoted servant, Albert. So when was this written? Was this written after his dad died?
A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
I would assume so. What do we got in here? Margaret, we were surprised to receive your letter. How could you think to ask us for money after all these years that have passed since you left and without any thought of us? You've never shared with us any detail of your success at the university, but you chose to do so now? We suppose you must be ashamed of us, for we are not from the same high class as your new friends. Yes, we are modest people, but you should learn to put your family first, as we of home had always done. And none of us have ever compromised their reputation, as it appears you have already done with your employer, Mr. Dunne. No, Margaret, it is you who makes us feel ashamed. Your parents. Ouch. And what we got in here? Oh, lordy.
These jewels must be worth a small fortune.
So she's not low on money. She's just looking for a new, to use the term, she's looking for a new sugar daddy. Okay, we have got Albert's ambition. Nothing yet so much. White's studies. White's family. Okay, everything canceled out now, which means we've got more clues on the horizon. Margaret White's studies and social situation were completely dependent upon Montague Dunne's wealth. So she has all those jewels, enough for a fortune, but I'm sure she's not going to tell Albert about that. She wants to keep the standard of life for which she has grown accustomed, I would assume. So, what do we got here on our to-do list? We need to go grab Toby. We've got some dialogue here. We got to search some archives about the complaint. Ah, good stuff. Alright guys, well I'm going to end the episode here and we will pick it up next time. Hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.